And you know, again, this is another topic in Warhammer Online that a lot of people like to discuss and moan about, is that players can't work together. You know, it's all about 6-man groups now. That's all you ever see. You don't see whole war bands of people working together, and if you do, it's only guild war bands. You know, you don't see people working together. They always go off and do their own little thing with the guild friends, which, you know, it's good, because it's good to see guilds working together, because without them good guilds, we would not win any battles. But in lower tiers, you definitely need to work together, because there is a lot of new players in these lower tiers who don't know what they're doing. You know, they look up to the players who are in guilds, who are good players, who've had experience in the higher tiers, and if they don't see them working together, they're going to realise that it's better off if they just go solo, and then it's going to cause loads of problems above in tier 3 and tier 4. So that's another thing that does contribute to some of the problems. Now, again, going back to this gameplay, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So the order keep, like I say, needed the keep taken down. Ours was actually down. It was down for about, I'm going to say, about half an hour. And we were inside here having this little battle for about half an hour inside this keep, but I didn't record all of it. For two reasons: A, it would have taken ages to upload, and B, my hard drive would have got full. So, but I recorded the main chunk of it when they tried to do a main push, and there was one or 2 points when we thought, crap, they're actually in and they're going to kill us. You know, it did get really close, and it was luckily down to all the healers. We had quite a few healers. We were very lucky. We had quite a few healers here who were very good healers, and I think if it wasn't for the amount of healers we had, they would have killed us easily, because we didn't have that many tanks as far as I'm aware. So we didn't have many surviving classes on the front line at the door. Them, on the other hand, they didn't have very many healers, but they had a lot of tanks, and a lot of tough characters to take down. So it was fairly equal, even though we did outnumber them quite a bit. But they did put up a hell of a good fight, and I think there were 1 or 2 guild pre-mates on their side as well. But I'm not sure, because I didn't really get a chance to see many of them. But they did pull up a hell of a good fight, considering they were outnumbered sometimes by like 200%. So kudos to Order there. Obviously, you know, it is easier to defend than it is to attack. We all know this. Anyone who's played Warhammer Online, especially in Tier 4, will know it is easier to defend a keep than attack a keep. Purely for the fact that using terrain to your advantage. But so anyway, what happened was they pushed in at one point. We really thought they were right in, and there was a whole battle going in this bottom floor for about 2 minutes. But we managed to push them out again, because we actually had quite some smart people who went into their backlines, killed their only healers because they didn't have very many, and they couldn't res inside, and it quietened down a bit. Then they came back for another push. And it was at that point when we wiped them that people saw the door was on like 10%. They went to go and try and attack the keep, and that's when we lost, unfortunately, because I stayed at the keep, but they did wipe us. So they did take the zone, but it was still a hell of a lot of fun. And I actually got a fairly nice renown tick from it. I got like half of what it would have been if there was a win. But we all know 1.4.4, there is defensive ticks now, so would have been interesting to see what we would have got for a defensive tick. We moved on to another zone now. As you know, there's only 3 zones in Tier 2 and Tier 3. There's the Elf, Dwarf and Chaos zones, and then there's 2 maps within each zone. We moved over to the Elf, I believe, as far as I remember. This was quite a while ago, so we moved over to the Elf, and we were attacking the Order Keep. Now, they were outnumbered, and then this is a pure example to show how easy it is to defend the keep. A lot of them obviously logged off or something after this battle. We stayed in numbers. We had pretty much the same numbers. They had, I think it was like 310% against all odds. There wasn't that many of them at the keep, but they absolutely owned us. We got 4 stars. They were just like ganking 1-2 people at battle objectives. When it came to actually attacking the keep, we got it to about 80%, and they just kept pushing out all the time. And they were using this defensive tick to their advantage, and this is the next thing I want to talk about, is the buff that you get when you defend a keep. Now, as you all know, when the ram's destroyed at a keep, your realm gets a buff, and it's like 200% increased movement speed, 25% reduced AP cost, 100% increased crit chance, some crazy stats. I don't know the exact stats. If you go on the patch notes for 1.4.4, you'll see, but it is some crazy stats. And with that aside, they were like I say anyway. They pushed us out. They destroyed the ram. That's the new tactic now for defending keeps. Is forget the players, just push out, do as much damage on the ram as possible, hop back in, heal up, come out, do as much damage on the ram as possible, hop back in. So the ram really is now the centre of the battle, not the players. And I think this sort of, it's a good idea because obviously, you know, the ram is a big part. You need that to destroy the door. That is the new tactic in keeps now, is destroying the ram, and then, you know, once that ram's destroyed, you get that buff, and you get it for like, I think it's 90 seconds. 90 seconds the buff lasts. And they kept doing that to us for a while. We held them a bit. We got the door down to about 50%, and eventually they just owned us with like 300% against all odds. But they actually, when they did kill us all, they didn't actually have the buff. The ram was still up at the time, but they just all pushed out anyway. And there was about 2 6-man groups, and that really did, I think, really did win it for them. Because I mean, 300% against all odds, we outnumbered them a lot. We had a lot of healers. They didn't have very many, and they still won. So it really was the group that did it. But it just shows that how much easier it is to defend, because they had the higher ground to their advantage. Obviously, being in the keep, they could flank around the sides from around the back. In that area of battle where we were really was, you know, the centre of where it was all happening. And it is much easier for them to defend than it is to attack. That's my opinion on things. So if you feel free to obviously talk about stuff in the description of the topics I've talked about over these 2 videos. And I know it was sort of rambling on. Some of it might just sound like you know, I was just rambling on for no reason, but a lot of it did have sort of a point, so hopefully you understood that. Let me know. I mean, I really enjoy Tier 2. It's been very active lately. A lot of people are making ults now, so it's been much more fun. So if you've got a Tier 2 character, I think it's about time you started playing it, because it's getting more and more active. So that's the Tier 2 chat. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, hope you enjoyed the commentary, and pop a comment down below in the comment section and let me know what you think. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.